So today's class is going to be core focused, and we're also going to explore some of the parts and pieces of this really beautiful and potentially therapeutic pose called monkey twist. Monkey twist has a bit of thoracic rotation, a bit of chest opening, front shoulder opening, a bit of glute and hamstring activation, so getting that posterior chain fired up, and conversely, or in tandem with that, we're going to get some hip flexor releasing, so opening. That concept of strengthening the opposite thing that feels short and tight is called reciprocal inhibition. And we're going to play with that concept a little bit today. So let's just start with the basic centering. You'll most likely want a block for class, but if you don't have one, you'll be okay as well. I also have a blanket that I will probably be using at different times to cushion my knees. And so if you would like to cushion your knees for anything, you might want to have some kind of blanket or throw pillow around as well. Find a comfortable seat, even if it means sitting in a chair. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Allow your eyes to close and then build up your interoception, which is your sense of where you are on your insides. That sense of digestive woes is one obvious form of interoception. But you could also have an interoception or proprioception of where your rib cage is in space. And you want that to be right over your pelvis, not sticking forward. Where your ears are over your shoulders. You want the ears right over the shoulders, not in front. And maybe a sense of what muscles might be contracting in your face that don't need to be contracting. Is there anything you can let go of around the eyes, around the jaw? What would it be like to worry less about the future, dwell less on the past, and just immerse yourself right in this moment, in this practice, in this body? There's a lot more depth to yoga than the physical practice, but this physical entity that is our bodies is always in the present moment. And so it can always serve as an anchor. Staying connected to breath a little bit more. With your eyes still closed, maybe start to move your head around a little bit. I call these the Stevie Wonders. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just move your head around a little bit. Get that movement going. And then roll your shoulders a little bit. Crack open your eyes if you haven't already. Check out your wrists. And keeping your block kind of within arm's reach, let's come onto our backs. So you're going to set your feet out in front of you. If you don't have anything going on in your spine, you should feel free to roll down vertebra by vertebra onto your back and place your thumbs on your lowest ribs, and please place your pinky fingers on the front of your pelvis. I'd like for you to do a posterior pelvic tilt, which means you're going to take that bowl of your pelvis, rock it backwards, curling the tailbone up a little bit, and then finding neutral. What should happen is the square of your abdomen should get a little bit shorter. So starting from that neutral position, Curl the tailbone up, draw the front hip points up, and then keeping that tone across your abdomen, I want you to bend one knee up, or rather one hip up, and then the other. You can spread your toes a little bit, march a little bit. See if you can maintain this point of contact in the ground. And use this as an opportunity to do something a little bit challenging while still breathing. So now your breath is going to potentially have to be more in the lateral aspect of your ribs rather than into your belly. And that's actually a good practice. You can even practice chest breathing. There's nothing wrong with that. And then go ahead and flatten your back. Draw your front hip points up. Really flatten your back. Draw both legs up to this 90-90 position. Spread your toes because it's a good opportunity, always a good opportunity to get into our toes here. And you're going to keep your hands on your abdomen for a little bit of tactile feedback. Straighten out one leg and then the other. So as you go back and forth, notice if you can lower the leg a little bit closer to the floor. And notice if you start to feel strain in your breath, tightening in your jaw, or any kind of strain in your back or your hip flexors or your abdomen. So you want to feel a little bit of engagement in the abdomen, but you don't want to feel like your face is turning red, okay? That would be a sign of the Valsalva maneuver, and you want to be able to operate with a strong core without cutting off your circulation, right? So stay connected. For anybody who feels any clicking in your hips, there's a lot to say around that, but essentially it's usually a little bit of a sign of instability or muscle imbalance. Let's just do one more of these straight legs on each side. And then draw your knees a little bit into your chest. Rock a bit side to side. Grab a hold of your block if you have one, or your throw pillow, and you can put it between your legs either in the skinny or the middle position. Find that 90-90 position again. Activate your toes, spread them wide. You can come into what's called the floint, so you're pointing the foot basically, but then curling the toes back towards your eyes. It looks like you're wearing a high heel. And then start to pulse your legs a little bit forward and back. Again, I'm using my hand on my belly to give some tactile feedback, but you could also put your hand under your low back and just make sure that the low back doesn't arch up off the floor. Stay easy in the muscles of your face and your breathing. Easy in breath. Easy in facial expression. And let's do 3, 2, 1, and make sure your block is in the skinny position now between the legs, or if you've got a throw pillow or just a balled up sweatshirt, that should be fine too. Hands behind your head. We're going to draw the knees up and over towards that right elbow. Make sure your feet stay apart. Drive the legs a little bit forward, but you don't want to overwhelm your system, right? So only go so far as you can. Up and over towards the left, spread the toes, and drive the knees a little bit forward. Up and over towards the right, and forward. Up and over towards the left, and forward. Up and to the right, and forward. Up and to the left, and forward, and then keep going back and forth, kind of creating a lot of stability in your back. So I don't know if you guys can notice this, but I shift a little bit towards my left because I actually have a couple of different yoga mats on the floor here to cushion everything. And so it's a little bit of an uneven surface. But that's an opportunity for me to really move more slowly and not push past that point of stability, right? Let's just do one more of these infinity symbols with our knees. Coming back through to center. Set your block to the side, set your feet down to the ground, nice and wide from one another, and then just drop your knees right and left, opening up perhaps the front of the hips, the side of the hips. And then keeping your left foot flat to the floor, reach your right leg straight to the sky. You can start by just bending and pointing at your ankle. That helps to free up a little bit of the back of the leg. You could even curl your toes like you're holding onto a pencil and make some movements with your ankles. That's actually a good way to build some of the intrinsic and extrinsic muscles of the feet. It's pretty tricky, to be honest. And then legs straight up to the sky, back rooted into the ground. Go ahead and lower the leg slowly all the way down to a hover. And so you'll notice that at a certain point, your low back does have to lift up a little bit, but don't let it lift up much. Bring it out to the side as far as you can, right back to center. If it's your right leg, it's like you're spelling out, tracing out the capital letter D. Nice. We're going to switch directions. So this is definitely a Pilates inspired move. Trace the D, go up the center, out to the side, make that C shape, and then right back through center, out to the side and in, and then hug your legs together. So we're going to turn the volume up a little bit, and I'm going to give you a few different options. Option number one is to take those tippy toes of the foot that was just in the air and place it on the ground. So fingertips to your pelvis, rise up and down, and I want you to feel your glutes. That's your version of the single leg bridge if that works for you. The second is to have the knee up to actually ankle crossing the opposite knee. And so that's going to be just a little bit easier, but still it's going to pour more of your weight into that left leg. And the third is to have this leg straight out in front of you and bridge up. Please do not do this one if you feel it more in your low back than in your glutes. If that's the case, you want to go back to one of the other versions. And let's go ahead and do 5 mindful single leg bridges. Whenever you're there, settle your feet down. And again, swish your knees a little bit side to side. Coming back through to center, let's go ahead and root the right foot down for the same action. So left tiptoes are going to be, actually before we do that, we're going to do our Pilates inspired tracing of the letter D. Flatten your back and sweep that left leg up to the sky, curl the toes towards the eyes and point away. So let's just go back and forth. This helps to free up some of the tissue in the back of the leg so your knee can end up a little bit straighter. But we are not perfectionists here. This is not about trying to achieve some perfect position. And then keeping the foot kind of pointed and the toes curled at the same time, if that works for you. Go ahead and do a bit of a circle with the ankle. Imagine you're holding onto a pencil. If you start to get a cramp at all, you can always push down on the toes or the middle of the foot. And then keeping this leg nice and energized and the foot flointed or pointed, go ahead and lower the leg. You're tracing down the center line, out to the side, and right back up. Lower down, all the way down, out to the side, and right back up. Give yourself plenty of space beside you so you can really challenge. And your toes can turn out, by the way, as your leg goes to the side, if you were wondering. We'll switch directions. So as you're ready, let the leg go out, down, then up through that straight line, out, down, up, out, down, up, and out, down, and up. Perfect. We've got our single leg bridge variations now. So you have the option of tiptoes, ankle over knee, or leg straight out in front of you. Move through 5 of these, and I want you to really feel this in your glutes, not in your low back. And if you do feel it in your low back, take it down a notch from whatever version you were doing, okay? Last one. Good. And then open your knees out to the side. You can do a little bit of a side-to-side action, windshield wiping your knees a bit. And then open your knees out to the side for Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet are together. You're pushing your feet together. This is not a lazy, passive shape. We're going to do something that I call a butterfly bridge. And what you can do, if you happen to have your block, you can put the block underneath your feet, and it just makes it a little bit easier to do this next move. It gives you a little bit more freedom. So outer edges of the feet root down. You're going to push down into the block, lift your hips up. So it's just like a bridge, except your knees are pointing as far out to the sides as you can. Mindful movement. And then lift, and let's hold it here and just do little tiny pulses. We're channeling Prince right now, getting that spirit, that energy. And last one or two, go ahead and lower down, set your block off to the side, and roll all the way onto your belly. So start off in hands and knees on table pose, but on your forearms, so that we start to get a little bit of shoulder stability activated. We're going to straighten one arm and then the other, and then lower right back down onto the forearm. Straighten the second arm and then the first, and lower and lower. So work your way up and down, up and down. And then the next time you come up, walk your hands a little bit forward so that your shoulders are not exactly right over the wrists, but you can do some circles to help kind of open up the wrists, massage the wrist a little bit. And we're going to get to our back body for a moment. So as much as the abdomen is part of our core, so are the muscles of the lower back. Shift your weight onto your right leg, push down through that knee, reach your left leg up. So you should feel this in your glutes, maybe your hamstrings a little bit. Create a nice, strong, straight line back there. And then you're going to take your right hand, so opposite hand, to your abdomen. Draw it in. Crown of the head reaches to the wall opposite you. And then that right arm is going to reach to the wall opposite you. So we're going to lift the thumb and the inner thigh a little bit, feeling all the back muscles activate. And then we're going to lower down, tap the pinky finger and the tiptoes down to the ground. Lift, reach, tap, down. Lift, reach, connect to breath, tap down. If for any reason you need to do this on your forearm, that's not cheating. You're still getting the same benefit in your back, in your core. Last one. Good, lower down and shake it out a little bit. Shift your weight over to the left leg, right leg's back behind you, toes tap down to the floor, and you're gonna rise that leg up, feeling it hopefully in your glutes and your hip. So in this neutral position, so I can see my shadow, my leg is at about the same height as my torso. It's not above and it's not below, right? And my inner thigh is active, rolling up so that my toes are pointing mostly straight down to the floor. So from here, left hand to the abdomen, feel that core connection. Feel the glutes really firing up. Then the arm can go forward and I can activate the back line of the back body, or the muscles around the spine. 2. Connect to breath. 3. You may notice that the hand that I have on the floor is turned out a little bit, and a moment ago it was turned out even more, because that's just what felt good. There's no perfect way for everybody to put their hands. So just find what feels good to you. Last one. Good. Lower and shake it out a little bit. Let your hips go over to the right and to the left. And while we're here on hands and knees, we're going to bring the left ear closer to the left hip and then the right ear closer to the right hip. Left ear closer to the left hip. Right ear closer to the right hip. Try not to back bend or round your spine as you go back and forth doing this. There's a little side muscle that activates to scrunch up the pelvis closer to the ribs. And of course, you get your lats going with this as well. Perfect. Lower down to the forearms. Straighten your legs. If your hips are higher than your shoulders, drop them down, create a straight line from the heels out through the crown of the head, and use your toes to shift a little forward and back. Front hip points up, low back broad. When you're ready, lower down to your knees and rise it right back up to hands and knees. Let's grab the block again if you have it. If you don't, you can just put your hand to your knee. We're going to bring the block in the skinny position between right elbow, left knee. Hand that's still on the floor turns out into whatever direction feels good for you. Start to build up a little resistance between the elbow and the knee. Lift them off the floor. Lift the knee off the floor. Your elbow already is. And then see if you can turn a little bit left and right inside of this motion, inside of this position. We're working a lot of stabilizing on the standing leg, hip, and arm, and a lot of core activation on the diagonal. Good. Lower down. Shake it out. Let's take a moment here before we do the other side, to come right back onto the forearms. Straighten out the legs again and drop the pelvis down in line with the shoulders and the heels. Forward and back. Seesawing the body. And feel free to just be in a stationary position on your knees here. Okay, last one. Go ahead and lower down through the knees. Rise up, find your hands and knees position again. And this time the block is going to be between the right leg and the left elbow. Drive the two limbs towards one another. Build up that resistance. Lift the knee. And then start to rotate a little right and a little left. Think of the hand that's on the floor and the leg that's on the floor like a gate. And you're just deciding which direction to go. The block adds just a little bit of instability. Last one. And then relax and set the block off to the side. Lower down onto your forearms. Straighten out your legs, come into your forearm plank. Either feel free to hang out here, knees down, or do the seesaw action using your toes. And then lower down. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a rest here on the belly in Sphinx pose, looking out over one shoulder and then the other. Hands come back by the ribs. Rise up to hands and knees. Walk your hands a little bit forward. Let's go ahead to a downward facing dog. Walk your hands kind of slowly back towards the legs. You notice how I'm kind of pushing the ground away. And once you get to the back of your mat, make sure that you have as much of a bend in your knees as feels good. Shake out your head, left and right. And then begin to stack vertebra by vertebra. If you have anything going on with your spine that this is not appropriate for you, feel free to adjust. But for a healthy spine, there's no reason to avoid that rounding up movement. So just as a little refresher, in the beginning of practice, we put our thumbs on the front of our low ribs and our pinkies on the front of the pelvis. Think of this as a square, and we're going to play a little bit with the twisting, rotation, and core activation that we've already done, but here in a variety of standing poses. Set your feet a little bit apart from one another, a little bit wider than shoulders distance apart, and allow your knees to your toes to turn outward. Inhale, open your arms out to the side. You can have the palms facing up, whatever feels good. And you're going to take a little bend in your knees. With your left hand, reach over and across, kind of tapping the right inner shin. Come back up to standing, nice and tall. I want you to notice a couple things. I'm not trying to go into the splits here. I'm not trying to have the biggest, widest stance between my hips. And I'm not even trying to keep my knees straight. So this is just mindful movement, building up our resilience, building up some gentle twists to support our core. Opposite hand, so right arm over to that left inner shin, and left arm over to the right, and switch, and switch. Let yourself really feel the diagonal from opposite rib to pelvis as we do 2 more rounds each side. And then coming all the way up, heel toe your feet in a little bit. Shoulder distance now with the feet. And just start to spin. I'm bending my knees and straightening my knees to get this spin happening. This motion is called empty coat sleeves. My arms, believe it or not, are just passively moving. They're not being moved by the muscles in the arms, just by the muscles of the legs. So we're getting this nice rotational movement to warm up the upper body, the upper back, even the neck if you feel comfortable moving your neck in with the twist of the rest of your body. Let your empty coat sleeves slow down. And then feet hip distance apart, rise the arms. Exhale, open the arms out. Hands to the hips. Shift your weight onto the right leg. Think of this diagonal here in the core. Draw your left knee high. Flex the foot. Imagine you still have that block between your elbow and your opposite knee. So you want to keep that spirit, that energy going. Good. And then lower it down. Rise to your tiptoes. As you rise to your tiptoes, just take a moment to feel that this activation of your calves in this way also activates your glutes. So you can just observe. Hopefully you feel a little bit of that. And then when your back heels down to the floor, shift your weight to the other foot. So right knee rises. Think of this diagonal between the right front pelvis and the left low ribs. Shorten that. Think of that spirit of the block being between your opposite elbow and knee. And then lower down. Come to the front of your yoga mat. Still using that energy, that like those specifics that I just talked about. Shift your weight onto your right leg. Draw your left knee nice and high and really pull it in. Arms go in opposite directions. So right arm is forward, left arm is back. Super slow motion, set your lifted leg to the back of your mat. Inhale, rise up, find your crescent lunge. Exhale, palms over the heart. Lean it forward a little bit. Get a bit of a pulsation here in your front leg. Tracking the knee right over the middle toe, just for efficiency purposes. We're going to now spin towards the front leg with the torso, and you can either bring your forearm or your elbow to the top or the outside of that front leg, and then come right back to neutral. So really pull back on the hip, tap, find your neutral. Tap, find your neutral. And last one, tap, find your neutral. Lower your back knee down to the ground. Wiggle your front foot out to the side just a little bit. Your knee can turn out. And then just drop in through the pelvis. It might not be the biggest drop ever, but you're going to flip your palms out, lift your chest. Stretch out through the core, activate the muscles between the shoulder blades, and then reach it back. Wiggle your foot right back in. Lean it forward. Float your back knee. And see if you can rise straight back into the position we started in. So left knee high. I had to tap my foot down in between. All good. And lower. Shake it out. A couple of quick tips. So when we're activating the muscles of the front body, it's actually really helpful to lift your toes up in the front of your foot up. So as I go to the other side, I'm not just kind of dangling my foot down, pointing my foot away. I'm curling those toes up. Okay, so that can be really, really helpful for activating front body. Start at your feet and your toes. Shift your weight onto your left leg. Draw your right knee high. Find that diagonal. Bring the opposite arm forward, so left arm forward, right arm back. And then slow motion, step it back. Find your crescent lunge. Inhale, rise up. Beautiful crescent lunge. Exhale, take it forward 45 degrees. From here, build that spirit of awareness, interoception, proprioception of your abdomen, and right rib cage shifts towards the left front pelvis. You can tap your elbow or you can tap your forearm. Big exhale. Left hip back. And then come back through. Lower your back knee down. Use your cushion as needed, your blanket or your throw pillow. Wiggle your front foot out a little towards the left in this case. Drop down through the pelvis. And I want to be clear here that my leg muscles are still active as I'm dropping. I'm not going into like a sagging position. Still active. Squeeze the shoulders back. Turn the palms back. This activates inner thigh muscle, muscles between the shoulder blades, even the neck to some extent. Unravel from here. Wiggle your foot back towards the center. Curl your back toes under. Oops. Lean in 45 degrees. Back knee lifts. And then rise it right back to that original position if you feel comfortable. Yes, shake it out. Squeeze your glutes. Press the pelvis forward. Lift the heart. And then take your time coming down. You can bend your knees. Shake out your head. And let's all take the left leg back. Cushion your back knee and wiggle your right foot out to the side. You're going to want to have your block, potentially if you have one, within arm's reach, and you're going to want to cushion your back knee if you feel like it might need a little cushion. So I have the block under my left hand, my right hand on my right knee, and I'm just getting a little bit of hip mobility here. The difference between a stretch, or flexibility rather, and mobility is that flexibility is just how far a given joint can go. So for example, in my pinky joint, I can bring it back a lot. Not the case for all of my joints, but in this one I can bring it back a lot. Could I hold it there? No. Therefore, I have way more flexibility in my pinky than I do mobility. Mobility implies a sense of control over the muscle and positions of that joint. So for the leg, we're not just dropping in and seeing how far it can go, we're using our muscles to slowly drop us in, right? I'm never letting gravity do the work, do all of the work for me. And then as you come into a position that looks something like this, your pelvis is down towards your front ankle, great. If you feel comfortable, bend your back knee, curl it up and down. So this is a hamstring curl, but we don't have any resistance to it. And I'm in a little bit of a twist in my upper body. I'm turned a little bit towards that bent knee. I'm actually activating my core right now so that I don't go into a big back bend here. If you get any kind of cramp in your hamstring, then what I want you to do is place the corner of your block or a ball, or even use your hand to get into and put pressure on that muscle. So from here, drop into the pelvis, open the front knee out, bend that back knee up, look over your right shoulder. See if you can see your left toes over your right shoulder. Give yourself as much space as you need. So I just wiggled my right foot out even a little bit further. I'm going to lift my right hand, reach it back, see if I can reach the foot behind me. Option to catch the foot, or to keep this more active by shifting back and forth. So this is our monkey twist position. Connect with breath. Hello, hamstrings. Hello, front inner thigh muscles. Hello, left shoulder stabilizers. Longer we hold, the more time under tension. The tension may not be as heavy as if we had weights, but it's time matters as well. Catch your foot if you feel comfortable. Lift your chest one more time. Good. Exhale, give it a little bow over this front leg. Wiggle your hips side to side, just like we did on hands and knees earlier. No need to yank on the hamstrings, just let them kind of move around and be fluid. And then let's take it to the other side. Block under your right hand, left knee to the front outside of the mat. I'm sort of halfway on and halfway off my mat here just because of the nature of my practice space. But if I were entirely on my mat, let's just experiment. If I were entirely on my mat, yeah, my back leg would be completely to the edge of the right side of the mat, and my front foot would be off the edge of the left side of the mat. So find that position for you that is mobile, stable, muscular, and not just gravity driven. And then once you get into it, bend your back knee and down. Doesn't really matter too much if your foot is pointed or flexed here. Do whatever feels appropriate and good for you. With the hand that is on the block or on the floor, if you don't have the block, you're going to want to really drive that arm down, lift your rib cage, kind of like what we did before. Lift that back foot. If you're not getting a cramp, then you may practice reaching with the hand. Again, feel free to cushion your back knee as much as you need. And then look out, see if you can see that foot. Maybe catch the foot in your hand. Keep your glutes active here. So that would be specifically your right butt cheek. See if you can press it a little bit forward, lift your chest. Draw in through the abdomen. So again, it's not just gravity taking over, lots of muscular action happening. And then as you release, let go of that back leg. Bend and straighten your front leg a couple of times, bowing down in this sweet way, giving your body thanks for everything it has done for you today and in this lifetime. Haven't always treated our bodies super well, yeah? So notice the ways in which we can be sweet, no yanking, no forcing. And then let's tuck that back leg under. And let's do a little bit for twisting in the upper back. So the monkey twist really does involve thoracic spine, shoulders, hips, hamstrings, as I'm sure you felt. And one of the things I see very often in the yoga world is a lot of use of the arms to leverage and twist ourselves deeper. Take on a simple, comfortable seat. Yeah, exactly. Bring your hands to the back of the head. And let's just twist as far as you can go without any use of the arms as leverage. Brilliant. Take a breath or two here. And what you might find could be really interesting. I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. Are your sitting bones even in the ground? It's okay if they're not. As I turn to my left, I actually have more weight in my left sitting bone, and I think that's pretty normal. But what's most interesting is the comparing and contrasting right to left. So I notice how many degrees I can spin to one direction, and then more or less how many degrees I can spin to the other direction. And did things change in my sitting bones one direction versus the other? You may also be able to notice that breath is easier in one direction versus the other. Once you've got your twist to each side, lower down, roll your shoulders. Turn your palms up and reach the arms back a bit. I call this one front of the Titanic. Chest is lifted, arms reaching. Let your breath fill your chest right now. So you don't often hear yoga teachers say this either, but you want to be able to breathe in to your chest as much as anything. Totally release. And wiggle your right hand out to the side. You can be on your fingertips for a little added strengthening, on your palm or grasping onto the block. Top arm reaches to the sky. First, really allow this imaginary helium balloon to lift you up. And then as you take it over into your side bend, full breath, add a little twist here. Turning your palm towards the sky, looking up towards the sky. Feeling the spirit of that monkey pose that we did, monkey twist. Inhale, rise up, shake it out. If you want to, you can switch the leg that is in front if you're sitting cross-legged. Walk your left fingertips out to the side. Rise your right arm to the sky. Nice long line here, like you're holding a helium balloon. And take it over. Maybe add a little of a twist, flipping your palm up, connecting to breath here. And then rise up, hands to your knees. Just go through a little bit of cat and cow and seated. We're going to close our practice with something that is like a distant cousin or close cousin, depending on how you look at it, with monkey twist, and it's called the Pretzel stretch. I like having the blanket for under my head for this, and I very rarely teach yoga with a strap, but this is one of those positions where if you happen to have a yoga strap, it could come in handy for this next move. Okay, so I'll talk you through the whole thing. We're going to line our backs, draw the knees to the chest, and straighten out your left leg. So I'm also straightening out my left leg, so I won't necessarily be mirroring you. Bring your opposite hand to the knee that's up in the air. drag it across your body. And once you've dragged it across your body, wiggle your hips back a little bit towards the direction that leg came from. The bottom knee is going to bend, and you're going to do your best to catch this bottom foot. This is where the strap comes in handy. And if you don't have a strap and you can't reach to your foot, it's actually perfectly fine to do this just with the general spirit of reaching. Top hand, inside hand is on the outside of the top leg. Gaze is over past my right shoulder. Right hand has clasped the left foot. It takes a minute because your body is so discombobulated here. This is very much like our monkey twist, but on our back. And we're going to spend 3 more breaths here, letting the nervous system calm down a little bit. Any effort that you made during this practice, start to let it go, even if that means letting go of the foot. Inhale, gently unravel. Draw yourself back to center. Nice neutral spine, happy baby if you'd like. And then other leg straightens out. In my case, the right leg straightens out. Wiggle the hips to the left of the mat. Left knee drags across the body. I'm going to bend up this right leg. Optionally catch it with the left hand. Or you can do the opposite. Soft expression on the face. Letting go, really letting your nervous system release, relax. Inhale, center. Make your way right back to center. Take a nice little bridge pose here. As we lower down from bridge, you're coming fully into your Savasana shape for your spine. So let yourself be really nice and neutral. Feel free to use your blanket roll under your thighs. And feel free also to join me in seated meditation as an alternative to Shavasana. It's typically the way that I practice these days. Wherever you are, take a moment to get yourself comfortable. Soften the shoulders, heavy in the eyelids, slowing down the breath. Whether you're on your back or in seated, if it would feel good, you can put one hand to your chest, one hand to your belly. As your mind wanders, remind yourself to return to this present moment again and again. You're welcome to stay in your Shavasana or your meditation for as long as you'd like. And you're also welcome to initiate a re-emergence by gently deepening your breath. Sending that breath to fingers and to toes. If you're seated, you might roll your shoulders, and if you're on your back, really circle the wrists, the ankles. Take your time, bending your knees, rolling onto one side, whichever would feel better for you. And slowly make your way back to seated. I'll put one hand on the heart, one hand on the abdomen, just connecting to breath. And with the palms together of your heart, giving thanks for all of your health and well being that you were able to bring to this practice today, no matter what it looked like. Bowing down and giving thanks. Gratitude is the attitude. Thank you so much for being here with me.